All right, everybody, guess what? I'm back. And this time I have the wonderful Judy Morocco of Compass Real Estate. As you all know, Compass is humongous. So you could probably extrapolate from that they probably have a lot of data. One of the things that I want to do is, of course, welcome you, Judy. Thank you so much for allowing me to interview you because this is
Thank
going
you,
to be
Ed.
very interesting. And I say that because Judy has a very interesting, very different background. She has her contractor's license, so she's come from that side of the business as well. It's very rare when you see somebody who's been a contractor also in the real estate business. So tell us, how does that play out during these COVID-19 times, you having that background?
Well, I think it gives me an advantage because I understand construction. I had a general contractor and masonry license. I also have an MBA in construction management.
Oh, wow.
I've managed. I've had employees, up to 8 employees, and have been on construction sites.
Yeah.
So when I go to a house, I could see the quality of the house right away. I could see the little things that got missed or the subpar construction, and I understand what people are trying to present.
Which means you're really good at negotiating price, because if you're seeing things that most people don't catch, that plays out as an advantage for your buyers, right?
Well, that can definitely play out as an advantage for buyers when the market tends towards a buyer's market.
Yeah,
In San Francisco, we seem to always have been, well, the last 10 years or so, been in a seller's market where
that's true.
but what I can do is let my buyers understand the implications and understand, well, there's this, point out the things that I see. I could give them ideas about what things will cost, because I've also purchased properties and redeveloped them and then put them out on the market, and I've paid the bills, negotiated the contracts, and understand the costs of fixing
Mhm.
certain things. So I have a good sense for, well, if you want to buy this and you want to renovate a bathroom or renovate
There we
a
go.
kitchen, what will it cost? What's realistic? And could talk through that with somebody on the process of doing
And I would think also that you really are really good at coordinating the different players in that, like for example, architects, right? And maybe subcontractors,
Absolutely, because I have
materials.
many connections. My business was
Mm.
here in San Francisco that I started in the late 80s, where I dealt with architects, contractors, developers, and homeowners,
Hmm.
negotiating, oh, I would say probably 30 to 40 contracts in any given year.
Okay.
So I've got that negotiating skill, and I also have a nice network of contractors and architects that I know if work needs to be done or referral needs to be made.
I see. That makes sense. What do you think is the number one mistake that buyers make when they're going to buy a property, especially from the standpoint of the actual property itself? Do they get too fixated on certain things like colors and things that can be remediated fairly inexpensively? Do you feel like they get too emotionally attached to, maybe when they see a color that they don't feel like they can overcome on their own?
I think in working the buyer pool that I've been working with, I think sometimes it's fixated on walking distance to somewhere,
Mm, okay.
where it used to be walking distance to catch a bus,
Yeah,
where that doesn't play out in the market anymore or any longer because of the fact that everyone's working from home.
that's
So
a
I
good
think,
point.
yeah, I think that it should be about where do you want to be, and
Mm,
also people buy things based on, well, today I need to catch the Google bus, which is 5 minutes away, and tomorrow I may be working for, let's say, LinkedIn, and so I don't need that bus, but I picked my house based on catching the bus somewhere. So I think ultimately it should be about where do you want to be?
yeah. And do you think that people are going to pick now more of different locations based on the fact that most likely they're going to telecommute now more so than ever? So maybe they live out in the burbs now more or more inland.
Oh, absolutely. I think right now we've all had a chance to really, quote, live in our house and
Mm,
see what the deficiencies are. I think that people are realizing that maybe outdoor space is what's important. I've had a few people reach out to me and say what's important is that they live near the beach or near Golden Gate Park because they want to be able to walk there because we're not supposed to be driving at this point. We're only supposed to be enjoying the area within our own smaller community within the city. And so that has become more important. The idea of having a separate room that can be a room for your office away from the kids becomes more important.
that's true.
Or a husband and wife or two partners working and we're both on Zoom calls. Well, we need to be in our own rooms so that we can both be doing meetings, virtual meetings at the same time. So I think more living space is what's important. More living
Yeah.
space and more outdoor availability, whether it's our backyard that we could sit in and go outside, or whether it's near our favorite part of the city that we could easily walk to.
That's a good point. Do you think there's going to be a migration from condos to single family because of the whole
Absolutely.
COVID-19?
Absolutely. I think that people see that the shared space in a condo building, especially the like 50 plus condos in a building, there's not enough privacy. There's not enough
Hmm.
being able to be in your own bubble. And I think people are going to value more the whole idea of single family homes.
Yeah,
And
space plus a backyard, right?
absolutely, and we see that more and more because if you're in living on the eighth floor of a condo building and you don't have the ability to do stairs, maybe you have a stroller and a lot of bags
Yeah,
with you, and you're in an elevator, you're sharing an elevator with someone that you don't know if they're sick.
that's very, very true. So what do you think that's going to do to pricing on single family homes, like even out in the avenues?
Well, I think first of all, the avenues have become a very hot area. Everybody wants to be there
Yeah,
because they want to be near the beach. I think fog isn't so much an issue as it was 10, 15 years
that's
ago
true. It's
because of
gone
our
down
weather
tremendously.
patterns. Yeah,
Yep.
our weather patterns are changing.
Yes.
And that the people buying single family homes right now want to be near the ocean. They want to be able to walk at the beach. So the
Makes sense.
especially in what we consider the first time home pricing,
Mm,
which in San Francisco is somewhere priced around 1,200,000 to 1,600,000. That is very competitive. There's a lot of buyers out there, especially right now.
yeah.
And prices are really not going down in single
Mm-mm.
family homes. There's multiple offers in many of these houses.
Which that squashes that whole idea of people asking me, do you think that prices are going to go down 10 to 20%? No,
Well,
not here anyway in San Francisco.
if you look at some of the charts, even from 2008, in which
Yeah,
we had a real depression because
right.
of the subprime mortgage failure, prices in San Francisco didn't go
Flatlined.
down. It kind of flatlined, and yes, we went down. We probably went down 5 to 10% in most of the neighborhoods of San Francisco, but we never dropped down that much.
Yeah.
Now, if you take the economy right now, there's no there's no underlying causes of collapse of the housing market. If anything, there's becoming more demand for the housing market because, for one thing, the mortgage rates are, which Ed, you should talk to that. Mortgage rates are an all-time low. We should
Absolutely.
we should have that. How long do you think mortgage rates are going to be
Well,
that
look, they're
where they
low
are?
artificially, thanks to the Federal Reserve. They have to, because if not,
Mhm.
we go into a depression. I mean, we're already talking about 20% going to 20% unemployment, right? Over 36 million
Mhm.
people out of work. So for them to pull the plug on that would be absolutely disastrous. So I think they're going to stay this low, in this range, I think for the next 2 years. That's what I think. So it's a great time to buy because of that. I mean, we've hit all-time lows. And for those of you who remember 1981, 21% was the rate on a 30-year fixed. The average has been about 6.5
And now
over
what
a
is it
lifetime.
now?
Right now, I'm doing, depending on your loan amount, I'm averaging about 2.75% on a 30-year fixed. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. Now we're starting to see lenders starting to relax the chokehold they've had because of COVID-19 on
Mm,
qualifying and also padding the interest rates as well.
mhm.
We're starting to see a little bit of relaxing that. It's going to continue to over time. I think in the next few months we're going to start to see more normalcy in that area. But yeah. So what trends are you seeing as far as pricing or anything in neighborhoods or in San Francisco right now?
Well, again, it takes to the single family homes, which we're talking about Noe Valley, Glen
Yep.
Park, the Sunset, the Richmond, and homes in the priced under $2 million are extremely strong, strong markets. There's a lot of interest in that. And, Ed, we have to also consider, you and I, and probably everyone listening here, we're fortunate because we do live in the Bay Area and we're not as affected as maybe the Central Valley or some of the other states
States. Yeah.
with our economy, because we have tech, we have biotech, we have tech here, and we have a strong economic
Yeah.
base
The
that
financial industry, banking.
that's
Absolutely.
right. That's right. And
That's a very good point.
that's what helps. And San Francisco is, what is this, 49 square miles is San
Yeah. Seven
Francisco.
by seven.
So,
Yeah.
excuse me, yeah, 7 by 7. So we're not going to be, there's nothing more to be made. There's no
Yeah.
place else to go. And people want to live
True.
in San Francisco because despite everything, San Francisco has a lot to offer. And we're going to
It
come
does.
back strong with
Yeah.
our restaurants and our theater and museums and we have all the hiking trails. We have the Sutro, the Land's End. We have
We
Golden
have
Gate
this place,
Park.
which I won't say where it is. It's my secret place. By the way, I took
That's
this
right.
picture.
The
This is literally a
Presidio.
hiking picture.
So we have beautiful
We do.
areas of San Francisco,
We
and
do.
yes, we have the hustle and bustle of the city, but we also have a lot of beauty and nature.
That is
So
true.
you could be living here and you could get out into
Yeah.
nature
And the
and not leave
proximity
the
of all the
city.
things too is great, right? It's not like you have to drive really far place to go to a cafe or anything. You fall out of bed and you hit a restaurant or a cafe in this city.
That's right. Or you walk out your door and within minutes you're at
Yeah,
a corner grocery store.
absolutely.
You can't have that as somewhere where you have to get in the car and drive to go get a carton of milk.
No, that's
Here,
true.
you don't have to do that. And you could get on your bicycle and you could ride across
Oh,
town and
absolutely. In a second.
be at the ocean in 30 minutes and then be in nature in Glen Canyon or in Golden Gate Park. So,
I couldn't agree more. Definitely. It's definitely a desirable place. It has been, look, since the gold rush. Nothing's really stopped, right? It's gotten crazier and crazier. What's your forecast? What do you think's going to happen here as we go through the phases of releasing the shelter in place?
well, real estate is an essential service as of May 1st. And I think I've seen a great uptick in activity since May
Yeah.
1st.
Yeah.
Where I've had a lot of buyers reach out to me. There's buyers out there and a lot of sellers. I think that if you're selling a home, sell it now. What's happened is that we just deferred our market.
Yeah.
Traditionally,
That's true.
for I guess forever, we've had a very busy spring. March to June is incredibly busy, as you can attest to within mortgages. And then people go on vacation in July and August. Well, people aren't going to be going on vacation in
It's
July
true.
and August the way they traditionally do. They're not going to hop on a plane and fly to Europe or fly to Asia. They're doing staycations, and a lot of people are just staying here. And all these buyers who wanted to buy have postponed their buying decisions because of lack of inventory, because everything shut down, obviously. And now we see that inventory is on an uptick, and so is buyer activity. So we just moved the market from March to June to June to August. So where we didn't used to have very much going on in the summer, that's going to be our spring market.
Yeah, I
People are
couldn't
going to
agree
be
more.
buying.
Yeah, all we did is
Yes.
hit the snooze button. Yeah, we
And
just
I've
kicked
got
the
a
can.
few, I've got a few charts that, because at Compass, you know, Compass is a very virtual company. We always have been. So we're really set up for this type of market because we do
Mm,
have new restrictions on how we can show our properties. It's no
yeah,
longer put out an A-frame and open the door and whoever wants to walk in comes in. Now we have to have people to sign affidavits saying that they're not sick.
and it's only two people, right? Besides
Two
you, the
people,
agent. Okay,
one
max.
agent, one agent, and two people from the same household.
Correct,
And you
from the
have
same.
to sign. You have to sign the paperwork before you're allowed into the house. And some listings, and depends if the seller wants this, you also have to show proof of funds before you're allowed to come
Oh,
in. So we're
interesting.
doing more things virtually. So if I have a listing, I'm going to be doing, besides my standard pictures that I take that you're going to find on the MLS, I'm also going to show what the new protocol is. I'll have that on the MLS. I'm going to have a 3D video, the Matterport of the house. I'm going to do a virtual video so people could look at the house itself. And then people should do drive-bys in the neighborhood and make sure that's the neighborhood they want to be in. And then once they've exhausted all of that, if they still think, okay, I need to physically be in the house in order to make a decision, then they fill out all the paperwork, and with their agent, whether it's myself because I'm the buyer's agent, or with a buyer agent and the buyers, make an appointment, and the appointments are once
Yeah,
every hour, so you can't just
got
drop
it.
in, and come in and look at it at the home to make a final decision of whether you want to offer, make an offer on the house or not.
Yeah,
So Ed, I think this is where you'll be more involved because people, it's really important now for buyers to get
get
themselves
pre-approved.
pre-qualified
Yeah,
and pre-approved,
I'm
and they
seeing it.
need that letter. I know I have a listing coming on next month, and my seller said, I only want people who can afford to buy the house to come in and look at it. And that's their prerogative because
Which
we have,
ironically is kind of the way it should have been, right? I mean, it's interesting how things happen for reasons. Yeah.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. And I have some interesting charts.
Oh yeah, show me your charts. Yeah, I love
So
charts.
I'm going to share my screen here,
Perfect.
and
Just take a
I
look at
am
what you're
going
showing us.
to share right here. This right here is the listings accepting offers. And this is just
Hmm.
in San Francisco. So as you could see, that
Wow.
around the 16th of March is
It all
when
collapsed.
everything kind of shut down in San
Yep.
Francisco. And the amount of offers that got accepted dropped precipitously through the 30th of March. Now,
Wow.
the ones around the 16th and 23rd of March, people probably had already been in there and seen it, and it was a
Hmm.
scheduled time to accept offers. And you could see the trough here around April 6th and
Yep.
13th. And as we come into, this is good
Climb.
through the 11th of May, because a lot of this is, we
17th of
show
May.
properties
Yep.
that's on the market, and then at that point, you know, like 2 weeks later, they go into contract.
Got
And
it.
you could see the uptick of properties accepting offers. So you could see we went down, we hit our bottom, and now we're turning around.
Yeah.
What's also interesting here is the new listings coming to market, where around the end of March, it went pretty flat. And this is the whole Bay Area. This is not just the city of San Francisco.
Interesting
Um,
how it's very similar though.
That's right. Right around the end of March, beginning of April, people stopped. A lot of people pulled their listings off the market because nobody knew what was going to happen.
That's true.
And then as we have more definition of what we can do and what's going to happen, the listings started coming back. And then, of course, as of May 1st, we became an essential service, and then you saw a big uptick in listings. And if this chart went out towards the end of this month, you'll see the uptick in listings even more. So I guess the story about that is, I'm going to take this off of screen sharing here. Okay,
All
so
right.
I think the story is, if you think you want to get your property to market, now's the
That's the
time,
time.
because there's going to be a rush to get properties to market in July and August. So
July and
good,
August. Okay. That'll be
good.
interesting when we do the follow-up, Judy, because we're gonna do a follow-up
All
to this
right,
to see
all
how
right.
this all plays out. This will be very fascinating. But I'm in agreement with you 100%. I think we're gonna see more properties on the market. There was recently I read that nationally the demand from a buyer standpoint is at 100%. There's been no decline. If anything, there's an uptick, like you mentioned.
That's
But
right.
inventory was down 25%, which, and you know as well as I do, that a lot, we're going to say, of sellers took their properties off the market because there was that big question mark in the sky. What's going to happen, right?
Correct.
Which
And
created
the
some shadow
market,
inventory.
well, and the stock market was so uncertain back
Oh, all
in
over the
the
place.
end of March. People
Yeah.
were freaking out,
Yep.
and now things have
Are
settled
stabilizing.
down. We have a lot more, not that we have the confidence, but we kind of feel that we have an idea of what might be happening, and we feel more control
Yeah,
over
I agree with
our
that.
environment.
Yeah, I definitely see that already in my conversations. Well, great. Thank you again so much. How do people get a hold of you?
Oh, well, if you want to get a hold of me, let me hold up my
Oh,
card
okay,
here.
perfect. All right, awesome.
JudyMorocco@gmail.com.
Excellent.
Available for consultations. I work with buyers and sellers alike.
Yeah,
So give a
excellent.
call.
Yeah, give her a call because she's been in the business a very long time. And again, not only is she your standard realtor, which you don't see a realtor who has the contractor or construction background and the contracting background. You just don't see that. So she's a great source of information. Whether you're looking to buy your first home, you're buying a fixer, right, or you're just going to be selling a property, you should talk with her because she'll give you pointers on exactly how to list that property. So thank you again. You have a fantastic day, and I can't wait to do the follow-up. Take
Thank you,
care.
Ed.
Take
You
care,
too.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.